Hey gang, Ronan here. As you can see, I am playing the Tier 10 US Destroyer Gearing. It's a favorite of mine, and I thought this would be a good first game with the introduction of submarines in the most recent update, 0.10.9. Now, I guess I got off easy because there's only one sub on each team. In terms of the rest of the matchmaking, well, it's decent. Yes, there is a CV on the red team, but there's not a whole heck of a lot of radar for me to have to worry about, which is kind of nice. DD threats, well, Shima outspots the gearing. Harugumo, just a straight up gunboat with devastating torpedoes if they can manage to land one. Holland, the torpedoes move at the speed of light. Yu Yang, well, Yu Yang's not too big of a threat to a gearing unless it catches you low on HP, because the Yu Yang torpedoes cannot hit a destroyer. And then, of course, the U-2501. You can see my comment there. It's in a reality. Homing torps are not a good idea. Maybe a way to test their tier 11 to 20 modern ships to be added in 2022 with, you get the idea. And I don't mean that sarcastically. And I'm not the only person that thinks that might be coming at some point in the future. I mean, the game has to continue to change and grow and expand or it'll die. So it's not hard to imagine what are currently homing torpedoes for World War II type subs becoming rockets, right? Missiles. Anyway, I spawned here, so I decided I'm going to see what I can do with Bravo Cap. I figure there's a good chance I'm going to see the submarine here at some point or another. You can see someone asking about the GK there. They're going to do the GK the way that they did the Moskva. It's going to become a special ship, and it's going to be a new ship in its place. You'll have to, grind through the Tier 9 German battleship in order to pick it up. But you'll get the special version of the GK with perma camo and all that. Okay, so I know Yu Yang is just north of me. Got a Hindi on that side. It's got really kind of long range hydro, which I imagine he has active, but I'll put the torpedoes out there on a wing and a prayer. I smoked up because we had aircraft overhead and I did not want to get blapped by the Hindi. And the mini-map tells me that the Yamato was in a position where he might have been able to move and get shells on me. So I just preemptively said I'll smoke up, work on securing the cap. Also provided a little cover for our battleship here. You can see our sub is pushing ahead, and he has spotted the enemy submarine. So I'm going to try and get some shells on that sub. Now, did manage to secure the cap. Get a fire on the Hindi. Not sure how long I want to sit here. I imagine torpedoes are going to be coming from the sub for the Shimano that's right here in the smoke with me. Yeah, looks like that sub's coming to the surface. And here come the torpedoes. Torpedoes to port. Torpedoes to port. Yeah, I was wrong about him coming to the surface. He's at 44 meters depth now. Now, Hindy's probably going to try and run across this gap, but he may turn back into it. I thought about sitting here, but I'm going to go ahead and head on out. I don't want to wait for another batch of torpedoes. And I'd be proxy spotted pretty quickly by that submarine. Hindy's going to run. He's going to run right into my torps, except that our GK just decided to ram him. And thank goodness there's no more friendly fire damage. I guess that's a consequence of the change that they made, and there not being any more friendly fire damage. Occasional battleships that'll just decide, you know what, I'm just going to push in, ram something, just keep pulling the trigger until I die, which is basically what this GK does. So I managed to do about 1,000 points of damage to the to the submarine, and our Yamato blapped him. I have smoke available, but I'm not detected here. I'm just kind of using the edge of the island, so I'll just keep putting shells on this lava. Our Yamato goes down to torpedoes from the Yu Yang that was just kind of sitting there waiting for him. But that's the first ship we've lost. Now, obviously, I'm not going to do a whole lot of damage, just lava, unless I can keep it burning, so that's going to be my goal. We've got a pretty commanding lead of roughly 325 or so points. GK eats a face full of torpedoes. I don't think he's going to make another ram happen here. I don't just think he doesn't have enough HP left. I'm just keeping an eye on the minimap. There's a Venezia kind of behind me on my, I guess technically on my port side. His last known position was outside of my detection range, and you can see the Conqueror. He's outside of my detection range. Slava blaps what was left of that GK. And there comes some friendly torpedoes. And our Shima takes out the Slava. Okay, well, time for me to move. I can see the enemy Yamato moving in, but I don't have eyes on him, so it's tough to really gauge when to throw the torpedoes. So I'm thinking right now about whether or not I want to stay this close. I really don't. In fact, I was thinking about coming a little bit to starboard and putting some torpedoes out, but if I run aground and Venezia pushes in, because Venezia is pretty fast. If it pushes in and catches me here, I'm dead. So I decide that, nope, discretion's a better part of valor. I'm going to turn the other way now that I can see the Venezia. I'm going to hope Yamato's going to slow down. But if he doesn't, one way or the other, I'm getting the heck out of Dodge. Our Vermont, he's not long for this world, and that's going to leave me on this side with Venezia and Conqueror, and I do not want to get spotted. Both of them are pretty devastating to contend with in a destroyer. So at this point, we still have a pretty commanding points lead, and Yamato is actually, if anything, accelerating, so I don't think those torpedoes are going to do much. Our Albing put out torpedoes, but unfortunately they were a little off the mark, and Yamato, well, he sailed, looked like, through the first batch, and the second batch was just off to one side. Now Venezia, fortunately, ran for the cap rather than out this way. I have to watch this island here, so I'm going to come hard to starboard and hope I can run alongside of it. I want to keep an eye on the Venezia there. Make sure he doesn't come around that corner with his nose pointed toward me. You can hear the alarm going off. I'm close to the island. Just keeping as much distance between me and that Venezia as possible. Okay, so what to do, what to do. I really don't have a good torpedo shot here. Yamato's going to be able to use the island, and he's got Venezia in the cap behind him. I have to be careful. If I get detected out here, I lose any possibility of landing a good torpedo strike on the Conqueror. So I think I'd rather just see if I can get in here, maybe get a lucky torpedo through one of these gaps, and then I'm going to turn and see what I can do about Conqueror, who is chasing after our CV. Now I realize probably not going to land anything, but Holland looks like he's going to move in there right behind the Yamato. And if anybody slows down, maybe I catch him. Our Gudenlu tried, but just that kind of range against Yamato, probably not going to work out. All right, so both sets of torpedoes are away through the gaps. Probably not going to land anything, but if I do, hey, bonus. And I suddenly get detected. That's right, aircraft. So they probably know I'm here. It's possible that the Conqueror is a little too focused on the incoming midway torpedoes to have seen that. And that's what I'm counting on. Oh, and I'll point out, you'll see along the bottom, that my AA and secondaries are in the off position. That's the P key if you're unfamiliar. When you're playing a destroyer and there's a CV in the game, well, really anytime you're playing a destroyer, my recommendation is when you start the game, make sure that's turned off, because a cruiser can throw up an airplane and you'll go off and try and shoot it down if it gets in range, and suddenly everybody on the red team knows right where you are. You can see my detection range by sea is 5.9 kilometers. You can see that on the minimap. And by air is 2.8. So I'm going to kind of thread this needle here. Do what I can not to get detected by the Conqueror, and also stay far enough away not to get detected by anything in that cap. And I go to that trouble only to get hit by a radar. What's Conqueror going to do? Can he turn the ship fast enough? Torpedoes are pretty close. I don't think there's much he's going to be able to do. And down he goes.
Problem solved, sir.
Radar is over. Now I can work on trying to secure the Charlie cap. At this point, we've got 3 ships. They've got 3 ships. They've got 3 destroyers, and their Yu Yang is still in really good shape. Got a lot of hit points. Can I catch him with a torpedo? I have to hope so. Now I'm showing a lot of broadside here, but I can bring all my guns to bear and he can't. And I really want to try and... I do land a torpedo, and that's gonna settle this right here.
Enemy destroyer blown up. Our team has taken the lead.
Go ahead and repair and get in that cap.
Problem solved, sir.
I was going to throw those behind me, but there's a Shima farther out there. I don't think there's any chance they're going to hit him, but I'll have a little time here until Holland can get around that island. So I'll just work on securing the cap. So, first game with the subs and randoms. Certainly not a stellar game. I did manage to ultimately top the scoreboard for my team. It's for me was a 2,522 base XP game, which I'm very proud of. While I'm no Unicum player, I felt pretty good about the total that I ended up with here in terms of XP and damage, etc. And I've still got this Holland. I'm going to go ahead and knock down this cap, and then I've got to deal with him. Now he's got a little bit better HP than me, and he's got heals and I don't. So I'll work on taking the fight to him in a way that can provide me some advantage. Now his torpedoes are super fast. Get this close, if he gets a chance to get them unloaded on me, there's not a really good chance I'll be able to dodge him. So I have to position myself to make sure that he's at a disadvantage when he launches his torpedoes. Now you can see the indicator, the radio location indicator or radio position finder, just above the cursor there, kind of a little semicircle, white semicircle. It's telling me where he's at. So he pushed a little bit this way, and now he's headed kind of back toward that gap. And I've got one set of torpedoes back up, and in another 22 seconds I'll have the second set. So I'm going to go ahead and take a chance here. Well, actually, at this point, I've got 100 more HP than him, so I can actually turn this into a gunfight. I do outgun him. His reload's a little better, but I have more guns than he does. He's only got 2 turrets, and I've got 3. I can use the island to make him getting torpedoes away really tough. So he's slowing down. I don't want to launch here. I'll throw one set, I'll hang on to the other, and just use the guns. Look like Jersey Swirsky maybe just activated for him. So I took a little bit of chip damage. I'm just going to use the island here. Now he's got to come right. He's got to come right to that gap to have any chance of getting torpedoes away. And if he does, he has to cross full broadside. There he comes. So I can flatten out my angle here by turning to port and swing all my guns to the other side, which I'm doing even as I turn. And even if he gets the torpedoes away, it's going to be all over. Thanks very much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I'll see you next time.